to go on rants sometimes. In August of 2012, 3 dudes got together and announced that they were going to start an exciting new venture. A film distribution, financing and production company. They all had experience in that area. Daniel Katz was the head of financing at Guggenheim. David Finkel was the president at Oscilloscope. However the fuck you say that. Laboratories. And John Hodges was head of production and development at Big Beach. With this new project, they were hoping to release 8 to 10 films every year. A24 distributed 5 films in 2013. Some they had the international distribution rights for, some they just had the US. The first release that they bought flopped terribly. It made, I think, 50,000 or so in the US, made triple that in Russia, and about 30 grand in Mexico. It starred Charlie Sheen. 2 other releases that year did pretty damn well. They both happened to be about scrappy, rich. Maybe you can hear that. I think it's a bit foggy out there. I live opposite the port. Crazy echo on that bitch. Okay, I think the ships are done for now. A24's... Do you mind? We'll try a 3rd time. 2 of the releases did pretty well. They were both about scrappy, rich, problem teens and young adults. They had bankable talent. One had James Franco, the other had Vanessa. No, they were in the same movie. One had James Franco, Vanessa Hudgens, Ashley Benson, somebody else. The other had Emma Watson and others. I want to say it was Teresa Farmiga. Each of those did pretty damn well. They made 20 million each on about $10 million budgets. They got good word of mouth, they got good press, they were generally pretty liked. A24 tried to run an Oscar campaign entirely online for one Mr. James Franco. Didn't work. Yeah, confidence was pretty high around A24 after that. They had a pretty bloody good first year. In 2014 they distributed 11 films. Ambitious. More than they'd planned to do 2 years prior when they were starting. Only by 1, but still. They released Enemy, directed by Denis Villeneuve, starring... Butts. They released Enemy, directed by Denis Villeneuve, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Good talent, should fill seats. There's a bit of hype around it. People knew who Denis was. He'd just released Prisoners. Everyone knew who Jake was. So yeah, it should have been a good bet. It made $3.5 million at the box office. Oh well, might have been a blip, right? It was a weird movie, bit artsy, bit of a reach. That's what they were wanting to do anyways, it seems. They were looking for lesser known voices, films that weren't getting financed elsewhere. It's okay if it didn't do amazing at the box office. We'll try again next time. Next up, Under the Skin, Scarlett Johansson. She's playing a siren-esque alien. She's hot. Hers come out recently. Everyone loves her. People want to see her in movies. Should work. It made $7.2 million against a $13.3 million budget. Oops. Okay. Maybe horror movies aren't the best bet, especially at that time, especially when it's more of like a cerebral, character-driven, sexual assault movie, essentially. Maybe the next one would do better. Up next was a British film called Locke. There was some good talent on that. Tom Hardy was leading it, Olivia Colman, Ben Daniels. Tom Holland was in it, but he wasn't a big name yet. Locke made money. $2 million budget, $5 million box office, 1.5 of that or so profit was in the US, which was where they had the distribution rights. They didn't have the UK distribution rights. So, you know, money being made. Balancing up. Maybe we're on the up now. Obvious Child made a little $2.3 million profit, not too bad. The remaining 7 films of that year went on to lose $20 million at the box. One with Nicole Kidman. Different redhead. Different redhead. What's her name? Oh my god, what's her name? Jessica. Miss Sloane. It's called A Most Violent Year. It's got Oscar Isaac and... Hold on. I've forgotten the name of the movie now. Oh my god, ADHD. Jessica Chastain. It lost $8 million. Was it 8? Maybe it was just 7. Anyways, whatever. But I digress. I'm not here to just dunk on A24's start. I don't dislike A24. I think they've made some good films. I think they're a really good distributor. Their marketing has become annoying. Actually, no, it kind of always was annoying, but it was effective. They've produced some pretty damn good films. They've produced some of my favourite films. Moonlight, Problemista, Good Time, After Sun, First Reformed, Minari, American Honey, The Lobster, After Yang. Clearly, this 2014 fuck-up, if you want to call it that, wasn't a monumental favour. Wasn't. Jesus Christ. Eating and talking can't be that hard, right? Clearly, the 2014 blip, if you want to call it that, wasn't a monumental failure for them. Look at them now, right? They're everywhere. They're making shitloads of movies. The TV empire is huge. They produced 2 Best Picture winners. It'd be really stupid of me to get on the internet and make fun of the only major production house that I'd ever had a shot of having a film I wanted to make made at. I mean, sure. Matt and Bowen talked some shit on Las Culturistas back in their day, where Devery fucking got on her podcast and just said whatever the hell she wanted. But let's face it, I'm not as hot or as funny as them, so I'm not doing all this, I'm not saying all this to dunk on A24, to say they're bad, to say they're a failure. I'm here to dunk on you. I'm here to bully the people of the internet because I think you're dumb. I'm here to ask one simple question. What the fuck is A24 style? What is it? What do you mean? Okay, so let's rewind again all the way back so that we can see where all of this shit about a style came from. So A24 wasn't involved in the creative side of any of the releases until 2016. They were solely distributing and I think a bit of financing. Could be wrong. I haven't bothered to research that much. I don't really care. I just like getting angry. In 2016 they produced their first film. The first film they produced was of course Moonlight. Fucking brilliant. Good for them. That's amazing. Smashed it right out the park. Who would have thought? Moonlight's good. Moonlight rocks. It's a really fucking good movie. Is that where we think that A24 style was born? Is that where it came from? I think it's where the idea of it does. I think we're obsessed with codifying and putting things into boxes and being able to point, this is what makes this successful, this is what makes this successful. I want to be successful, therefore I want to do this, right? So when you come out the gate with your first produced film and it's fucking Moonlight, everyone's going to be like, holy shit, how'd you do that, right? If we could quantify it, we could all do it. And that's what we all want to do. So let's think. How many creatives worked on Moonlight? You've got Terrell Alvin McCraney's original play. You've got Barry Jenkins, who wrote the screenplay, turned it into a screenplay, and directed it. You have got your cinematography by James Laxton. You've got your amazing score by Nicholas Britell. You've got all sorts behind the camera. You've got producers. You've got A24 there, maybe having some input, maybe their people are making some requests. You got other producers, you got this, you got that, you've got your costume department, you've got your lighting department, you've got your location scout, you've got your set director, no. Why can't I think of the word right now? Set designers. You've got your set designer. Have you ever sat through the end credits, like the whole thing of a movie? They take like 10 minutes sometimes, and the text is like really, really tiny. It's like 4-point font, and you're like squinting. You sit through all of that, and yeah, maybe a good chunk of those guys, they don't have any creative input. But there's still shitloads of them who do. So who's responsible for the style of a film? Because here we're going to run into another problem. A lot of the people I see talking about the A24 style, acting as if it's like a big thing, as if it's aspirational, as if it exists, they also believe in auteur theory, which I also hate, but that's a problem for another day. It's for next time I'm procrastinating writing the last 30 pages of a script that's due in 8 days. Who's responsible for the style of a film? The producers are there, the writers there, the fucking lighting directors there, your editors are making changes to pace, to within the scene, without, to all sorts, to shot selection. Sometimes the style just comes because of the necessity of the day. You might have only a certain amount of sunlight, you might have only a certain location, you might have budget constraints, you might be Star Wars and your fucking puppets might not work. Style isn't, it doesn't come down to one person, one entity, one thing. It grows naturally. It's of course curated, I would say, by the director, but it's not so simple. It's this evolving thing. It's this thing that is everywhere and is nowhere and doesn't really exist until the final product is done. I mean, like, Moonlight looks and feels vastly different to Problemista, to Love Lies Bleeding. They've got similarities maybe, but more obvious than the similarities are the differences. They have different tones, they have different themes, their characters are all massively different. They're different! Anyways, so Moonlight comes out, it's a rip-roaring success, it's got a clear visual style, it was about something, it was about black masculinity and its relationship with queerness, and, you know, identity, and family, and love, in all these different and very specific to that film's ways. Okay, let's look for a style that flows on from there. The next few films that A24 produced were The Lovers, It Comes at Night, and Ladybird. The Lovers is a middle-aged romantic comedy drama. It Comes at Night is like a illness, almost zombie-like, but there's no zombies, they just get sick and die horror. You know, Ladybird's Ladybird. It's a coming of age about a white woman in California. It's about Greta Gerwig. Anyways, they're all pretty different, right? There's not really much commonality other than these are all characters that have families. I really don't care enough to be making this, and yet the desire to procrastinate is just huge. Anyways, we'll go with Ladybird, because that's the one I've seen. It could not be more visually different to Moonlight. Its colour palette is muted, despite the fact she's got that bright pink cast and pink in her hair. They're not bright, they're not singing out at you. The shots are boring, unambitious, and it was very specific to the kind of experience I had. It was about white girls and their mothers and their friends. Look, I liked Ladybird. It felt personal to me. I could relate to it. I enjoyed it. It was a coming of age film, which Moonlight sort of was. Similar, if you want to stretch, but mostly very different. And then we get Hereditary, which is another horror. We get 8th Grade, which is another coming of age. Sure, there seems to be sort of a trend towards coming of age films here. Maybe horror, but at this point it wasn't really horror, that comes later. We're trending along the coming of age sort of line, you hit mid-90s, another one. Then you get Midsummer, which is another horror but isn't really about family, which the first two have been, and generational trauma, so it's a bit of an outlier. Then you get The Farewell, family again. I'm gonna stop here for a moment and go away from what I had written down. One of the big problems with this idea of A24's style is that it paints a lot of films with the same brush, and it tends to be a ladybird 8th grade and mid-90s shaped brush. You know, it circles these things in with what the loudest, most annoying audience wants these films to be about. It's a bit like Mitski getting taken over by the boy genius of it all, I suppose. Fuck it. Let's just keep hitting different hornets' nests. I haven't died yet. Anyways, so generally, I'm struggling to identify a style with where we are in the A24 catalogue so far. There's some coming of age films, there's a couple horrors, there's a little bit of like common theme. Visually, they all look way different. Mid-90s kind of look like shit. Sorry, Jonah Hill, but it did. And the thing is, the coming of age stuff, audiences always want to see themselves on the screen, and there's always a coming of age film audience. And so as the world shifts, progresses, changes, we have different experiences, you're gonna produce a lot of coming of age films. They're a safe market, they're a safe bet, and it's really easy to pack in a lot of different themes into that sort of genre, if you want to call it a genre. So yeah, coming of age films are always going to be popular, but also go scroll through the catalogue of what A24 weren't producing but they were distributing, or just ones that I've missed. They're distributing shitloads. They've got westerns, they've got psychological thrillers, they've got a few fucking documentaries, you know? Like, they're putting out Yorgos Lanthimos' movies. They're producing films that are good, different than what the major houses are producing for sure. They're taking punts on a lot of first-time directors or up-and-comings. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you've got to remember they're a business. They want to make films that are good and make money. Coming-of-age films are always going to make money. Simultaneously, at that point we're hitting a time where horror's becoming the big thing, you know. Raw did really well at Cannes, Get Out came out and Jordan Peele went on a fucking run. You've got the Scream franchise getting a second, third wind, whatever you want to call it. Titan comes out, there's fucking horrors all over the place, right? It becomes a huge market. So A24 start making a bunch of horror movies. And yeah, maybe theirs are a little more stylized, a little bit more weird, a little bit more this, that, the next thing. Sure, they're greenlighting all the horrors. But so were a lot of places, and also horrors are often really cheap. Sometimes you just don't even see the bad guy, the deaths, the monster, etc., etc. It follows, for example. Cheap film to shoot because the monster never gets seen. Is the monster even real? It's a fucking STI, right? So yeah, they're pretty cheap and they make good money if you can get people in the cinemas to see them. And people are starting to go to the cinemas to see them now. In about 2015, 2016, my camera died, I got cold, and I wanted a fresh cup of tea. Anyways, we're doing all these coming of ages. They're starting to get popular, they're starting to get noticed, you know, they win an Academy Award and they start pumping out even more films. And people start picking up on the fact that these movies are slightly different. They're a little bit more grounded, they're a little bit more real, or at least that's what people believe. Oh, A24 movies are so relatable. Wow, I love everything A24 are putting out. They're so good, they're so real, they're so gritty. I love A24. Mind you, they're probably not seeing everything A24 are putting out. There's still loads of films on their slate, all over the spectrum of style and genre. I mean, they're putting out fucking documentaries. Do you think people on Twitter with Ladybird profile pictures had also seen the fucking deepest breath? Let me fix this up. I mean, do you think they saw This Place Rules? It would have been up their alley, but like, I doubt it. So, there's these people who have gotten online, started to turn A24 into a personality trait, and now they're clout chasing. They're trying to have the coolest opinion, they're trying to have the best opinion, they're trying to watch the coolest, nichest, I hate to say it, but like wokest movies. I think it's worth saying that this is all going on in 2016, 2017, about the same time as Letterboxd is starting to become a thing. It's part of people's persona now. It's part of the way that they were presenting themselves to the world and still are. So, what does this mean? It means that people, regular people, us out in the world, morons, are marketing A24 for A24. They've decided that it's a creative entity, and they've decided that it's a good creative entity, one they want to be associated with, associate themselves with, promote, show off that they know what it is and what they do. They want the t-shirts, they want the caps, they want all this stuff. They're clout chasing. They don't understand what a production company really does, the difference between the movies that A24 is just distributing and what they've actually made. They're playing at being cinephiles. In 2017, GQ did a big article on A24 and how they were the cool kids of Hollywood or something like that. They called Robert Pattinson to ask him about it. And he said, it's crazy that there is an article about a distribution company. It's completely nuts. Wait, should I do that in a British accent? Wait, how posh is Robert Pattinson?
Hey, I'm Robert Pattinson, and I'm going to talk about some of my iconic performances.
It's crazy that there's an article about a distribution. He's not that posh.
First, Death and Harry Potter, which is my claim to fame.
No, he is that posh. Oh my god, he is that posh. So they called up Robert Pattinson. It's crazy that there's a why can't I hit this? I'm normally good at this. Raw, darling. It's crazy. I think it's the word crazy. Raw, darling. It's crazy. Raw, darling. I have to get into this. In 2017, GQ did a big article on A24 and how they were the cool kids of Hollywood or something like that. They called Robert Pattinson to ask him about it. And he said, it's crazy that there's an article about a distribution company. That's completely nuts. Yes, Rob, it is nuts. Why am I doing the Princess Di for Robert Pattinson? Oh, that was my Emerald Fennel voice. I'm Emerald Fennel, the writer-director of Saltburn. It's crazy that there's an article about a distribution company. That's completely nuts. What did I eat? So A24 had successfully solidified their place in the long, storied lineup of relatable companies. They'd launched merch. They hadn't launched the AAA24 Club or whatever the fuck it's called by then. We'll talk about that later. All of a sudden, people online are using A24 to signal that they're cool. They know what's good. They're artsy. They know movies that aren't Marvel or Mission Impossible. They know movies that don't co-star Meryl and Tom. And like, yeah, holy shit, man. People are out there buying A24 shirts. They're buying A24 mugs. You ever heard of anybody buying fucking Paramount merch? Are people fighting over, like, the Warner Brothers latest drop of caps? I mean, I would for, like, some old school MGM. Like, that would rock. But I don't see anybody wearing, like, Apple TV Plus merch out and about. I don't see them wearing fucking... Maybe I've seen someone in an HBO shirt. I don't know. I feel like that would be preferable. It's still so new. MGM, Warner Brothers, all these guys are like industry greats. They're established. They've made some of the biggest films of all time. We don't know yet whether the movies A24 has either produced or even distributed are gonna become classics. I mean, Moonlight, sure. Everything else, I don't know. You know, I don't know how long A24 is even gonna last. A lot of the movies they make flop. They don't make back what they cost. Civil War. Warfare is gonna be shit. Which, by the way, if we're treating A24 as if it's some kind of, like, progressive, cool, making stuff that wouldn't normally be made, house, Civil War and Warfare, now tell you what, doesn't fit with the fucking progressive ethos that they seem to have. What the hell is going on? Whose balls does Alex Garland have in a vice? I hate that guy. Let's move on. Even more importantly than the caps and the t-shirts, which other studios are putting out scented fucking candles? Other places do merch for movies. You can buy Harry Potter merch if you're someone like that. You can buy Marvel merch. You can buy... I mean, I have a Wong Kar-wai cap. My Lahane hoodie. Bought this because I like Wong Kar-wai's work. I really like In the Mood for Love. Bought the Lahane hoodie because that's my favourite fucking movie ever. It's tied to the work. It's tied to what that specific thing means to me. Why are you buying merch for a studio? Why is that like a big thing? Why are people reselling it for 2-3 times the original cost? It's insane. You've done all this marketing for free for this brand, and now you're letting them rinse you. You're paying them for the clout that you gave them. What are you doing? It's crazy. Seek help. My cap, my hoodie, they say that I like this specific thing. If somebody also likes that thing, they might come up and talk to me about it. That's fun. What does a big block letter A24 shirt or cap say about you, other than that you're a stooge who created a brand's identity for it and then paid to be associated with it? The AAA24 Club, this thing that they invented in 2022 so that you could get first exclusive access to merch drops? What? You're paying them to subscribe to something that, like, doesn't even let you see the movies they've made. We're just gonna come back to the main question I have. Which is, what the fuck does Civil War have in common with First Cow? Oh my god. I've gone all over the place with, like, the script I wrote as well, so... What is the style? I still can't see it. I'll give you one thing. A lot of A24's films are super zeitgeisty. Whatever the fuck that means. They know that audiences want to see themselves and their experiences, their questions, their problems reflected on the screen. So does every other studio, but I'm sick of the word zeitgeisty. I don't know what it means. I mean, like I do know what the word zeitgeist means, don't come for me. The A24 is a brand thing, as a style thing. Feels to me like it's an attempt at making it a personality trait to like A24, not to be into movies. It's a hobby to be a cinephile, if that's what you want to call it, investing time in caring about them and learning about them and being passionate. Like that can be a hobby. The more I see the A24 thing go on and on and on, it does seem to me that people are measuring their moral worth, their popularity, like their politics, on how many A24 movies they've seen. The politics of A24 films aren't generally revolutionary. They're not generally that progressive. I will remind you again that they are putting out fucking Warfare. They're still putting out mostly white-directed, white-led, straight, cisgender, centrist movies. But because it's less risky to do that and still be able to fall back on this curtain of wokeness because they made Moonlight. They made Everything Everywhere All at Once, which, should we get into it? Did that really deserve Best Picture? Oh. Is that gonna stay in? there are some A24 films that are exciting, that are inventive. There are just as many that are not. I can't find a style in the way the movies look, other than just what's trendy across films right now. Everybody knows that the world at large hated the Marvel grey palette. Everything is more colourful now. We're going through a second sort of stylization revolution. The Substance, for example. We're going to see a lot more films that look like that, I think, in the next few years. What else do people say is part of the A24 style? Handheld camera? I don't fucking think so. There's jack all of that in the Green Knight. Just watch 10 A24 films that are not coming of age films with a white lead, a white director, and I don't know, pick another variable. Watch 5 of them that aren't those, and you'll see how fucking different it is. How nonsensical it is to talk about a style. They're different. There's no such thing as A24 style. I'm not the first person to say it, that's nothing new. But the thing is, the really concerning bit is the way we all are about them. The fact that we created this brand, the fact that we spend a shitload of money on merch, tell them what we think their style is, and encourage them to adhere to it. Because the more that people insist that style exists, the more the studio and the filmmakers working in a contract with that studio are going to feel like it does. Like their film has to meet these standards, these ideals, and it's not going to lead to good filmmaking. People are either going to be formulaic when they're pitching and hope that it fits in, or they're going to pitch and then try and make a story that's not like that fit in. They're going to stick a bunch of neon blue and purple, they're going to have some shaky cam, they're going to, I don't know, whatever the hell else you people think is the style. The more you say this exists, the more you create it. And that's the opposite, I think, of what you all think you love about A24. You're creating a little box that a film made by a certain production company has to fit into. That little box can only fit 3 or 4 good movies in it. And then they'll start to feel contrived. They'll start to suck. All of a sudden everyone's gonna miss the old A24. Fuck. We've given A24 an immense amount of cultural power. For better or worse, it's done. That damage is done. They've got it now. There's 8,000 articles about how cool they are, how they're the, I don't know, rat pack of production houses, and everybody wants to be them. And so now all the other studios are going to try and copy and do the same thing, and all the films being made at A24 are going to get more and more and more and more like that. And you're building up this framework for a cinematic world, a cinematic landscape that I don't want to see. I don't want to live in it. I'm sick of it. Everything's going to be fucking neon. I don't want that. I just want good fucking movies, dude. It's as simple as that.